Hello everyone, good day. My name is Fumi Raphael John. I'm a musician, composer, artist, saxophone player, clarinet and flute player. I'm a teacher and a lecturer at the Lagos State University. My YouTube channel basically promotes and also discuss and teach music, performance, theory, composition, techniques, harmony, and so much more. Please, you need to subscribe to my channel. Kindly subscribe. And to these videos, I'd like you to like, comment, of course, for the purpose of feedback, so that I need to know if I'm meeting with your demands. And then don't forget to also share these videos. Thank you very much. Bye. Good evening, everyone. Coordinator, good evening, sir. Oh, morning. And then there are a number of faces I still have around here. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Kunle, and Mr. Gabriel. He's such a great delight, sincerely. Being amongst us. I miss the good old days. Sincerely, I miss those days. Those days where we have to practice. This man here will put us under great duress, great stress. We practice from, like, say, 9 o'clock till 5 in the morning, non-stop. And then you get home, you are useless. I miss those days. It's such a great pleasure being here. I thank God. I don't take it for granted. Oh, sorry, Mr. Sheung, Mr. Efata. Good evening, sir.
3216.
Oh, good morning. Well, if I say good evening, I'm sure you understand. So let's take it like that. All right. Let's move into the business.
Like and comment. Don't forget to.
This man too put me under great stress, asking me to send notes and then make PowerPoints and all of those. But then we'll take it as God have us.
Secret of professionalism.
Secrets of professionalism. But then I sat down and then I asked myself, what's the secret of professionalism, especially in music? And then let's even leave music out of it. And then let's look at secrets of professionalism. But then I found out that there's really no secret. Professionalism is professionalism. And then but I like to take it from the keywords in the topic. Sir, sorry, please. I have to write. Sorry. I have to write. Yes. So that, especially because while one is talking, there's tendency for us to. Okay, if he's giving you notes, possibly that's just for later. So let's just sit down and then let's enjoy the discussion. The words here, that we really dwell on is professionalism and then music. All right? So, professionalism. Firstly, I asked myself, what is professionalism? And then by my training, I think we all grew up to Buhari is a bad man. This one say, no, Buhari is a good man. No, or you say, Sanwo-Olu is a bad man. The point I'm trying to make is that for you to establish that something is the truth, something is a fact, it must have gone under some form of research, some form of study. And then the results of these studies or this study is what now establish that thing as the truth. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So whatever fact we are trying to establish should have gone or should have undergone some form of empirical studies. Like it should have been established as the truth. It must have been tested. It must have been, in some way to establish it as a fact. All right. So based on that, personally, I've done personal studies because this also gave me an opportunity to undergo some studies on professionalism, and then with respect to music. All right, so professionalism, even from professionalism, we get things like profession, and then professional. Don't forget, we are relating all of these to music. All right. So professionalism. All right. From my study, because I actually prepared PowerPoint, which I'm supposed to have displayed for us to see. It refers to high standards that are expected from a person that is well or formally trained in a particular job. All right? High standards, or whether high or low, standards that are expected from a person that is well and formally trained in a particular job. And said it also means great skill and work power as displayed or expressed by an individual. All right? So high standards, skill, or let's say work skill. I'm sorry for taking your time in all of this. Work skill and great skill, power. All right. So that's professionalism. All right. And then when you look at profession is, I'm sure everybody knows that, and we all know that. A profession is what will you do to put food on your table? It's as simple as that. All right. That's profession. And then professional, somebody that has all of these skills. You know, all of these skills as displayed in the person's profession. Do we understand what I'm trying to say? Yes, all of these skills displayed in somebody's profession. You know, if you have someone display all of these skills in a particular profession, you say that person is a professional. And then the whole thing is professionalism. We get it, right? Now, let's look at it with respect to music. But before then, I'd like to read this. A musician's reputation is shaped as much by consistent professionalism or lack of it as it is by artistry. Again, a musician's reputation is shaped as much by consistent professionalism or the lack of this as it is by artistry. This is by a gentleman. And then I think what he is trying to say here, of course, your reputation, your personality in your profession, you know, has to do with more of consistency in professionalism than by the art itself. How do I make us understand this? Okay, if I can be a good singer, I can be a good guitar player, you know, I can be a good piano player, but lack of consistency, you know, puts me away from the market. Do we understand? I can be fantastic. I can be the best singer. I can be the best waver. But your professionalism is displayed in how much of all of these being displayed consistently over time. That's what makes you a professional. You know, if I appear at a worship service today and I've performed excellently well, and then the next service is not too good, the other service is good, that doesn't make me a professional. And I'm sure the choir leader, or even if it's a secular engagement, the person you won't want to be. Permit me to talk more, you know, with professionalism now. I'll make more of examples from a secular setting, and then you try to contextualize it, you know, as it appeals to you. Do you know why? Why? Because we need to embrace some principles, secular principles of administration, secular principles of organization, secular principles of management. All right? But by the time we apply these principles and then bring these things into our Christendom, I'm sure we'll serve God well. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? All right, so I'll try to make, more, my examples will be more of secularized examples. All right. Yes, and that was the quote by the gentleman. So there's need for us to be consistent. And then as time goes by, we'll see how this consistency is being, how we build this consistency. All right, I defined professionalism. All right, and then a professional I have defined, and then I want to look at who do I call a professional musician. All right, who do we refer to, or who can we call a professional musician? All right, so with reference to music, or my definition of professionalism, a professional musician is a musician. Don't let me bore us with too many definitions and too many, we know what a musician is, A musician is not only the person that stands in your church to sing, or the man that you meet where you go to a party, By my own training, some of the people you see on the streets, by saying some of the people on this, for example, look at this. While I was growing up, the people I want to make reference to now, they are not much. I don't see them too much again. These people that they sing Bambiala, those people. While I was growing up, they were, you see them in your neighborhood and all of this. Yes, if you still look at what they do, that's musicianship. They perform music. So the reason why I'm making reference to that is so that you don't begin to see musicians as, those people that will carry mic and sing, or those people that will carry instruments. Depending on the situation, you have people play music. Sometimes I can just do like this, and then to an extent I'm playing music. All right, so that's just to broaden our scope of who a musician is. All right, so I've been able to define a professional musician, and then a professional musician is a musician that has all of these attributes, as mentioned. All right. Categories of musicianship, or categories of musician. Categories of musicianship. Well, the issue of categories of musicianship is supposed to just help us define musicians, or who musicians are. All right. But then I like to skip it, and then let's move to the secrets. I've been able to dissect about 4 principal areas. How many minutes do I have? You didn't tell me. All right. I'll be able to dissect about 4 broad areas, all right, by which if we tackle, we'll be able to bring professionalism to the fore. We'll be able to bring professionalism to the craft. We'll be able to bring professionalism to the worship of our God. All right? Because I'm sure we all know God deserves the best. All right? And then sometimes, in some secular settings, you have people perform music with utmost seriousness. And then when I mean utmost seriousness because these performances are tied to some form of remuneration. All right? Because, after the performance, of course, I'm going to get paid. And I got to give my best. All right? Or I'm going to be appreciated depending on how much of quality I'm going to render, or I must have rendered. All right? And so we find this trend in the secular world of people performing music excellently. And then when we now compare with what we have, in the church, most especially, you see this large gap of disparity. It's so much. And then is quite, what's the word now? It's saddening, especially because we are giving the sacrifice to our God. And then, I don't want to talk to us about, God's blessing, blessing in all of worshiping God and all of that. I just like to highlight what are these things that, if we do them, there's tendency for. Then, if time doesn't permit us, whatever things we have shared, all right, we just try to contextualize it. Whatever examples I will be giving, we just try and relate it to our service to God. Of course, we can even relate it to our personal business or businesses, all right, personal professions, personal jobs, and I'm sure God will help us to get the peak that we want to get to. All right, so the very first one is punctuality. All right, punctuality. And then there's the popular saying that time is the soul of business. All right, if you know a business that is not time-based, no matter the peak that business has gotten to, you are just waiting for the disaster of that business to happen. That's to say that the place of timing, the place of punctuality cannot be overemphasized. All right. So, and this has to do with, in our context, under punctuality, I'll be able to highlight about 4 points. Yeah, 4 points. And the very first one is arriving early. Arriving early. Don't forget, we are looking at secrets of professionalism. Punctuality and then arriving early. Now, if it's your business, if it's your choir, if it's your church, if it's your whatever, arriving early has a way of okay, let me give an example. I don't know how many people take time in the morning to do workouts and exercises and all of those. Or if you know someone that does it. If you do those things, it has a way of affecting the entire of your day. All right? Possibly, you wake up in the morning, you do workout, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever. It has a way of just exponentially increasing your workout during the day. All right? And that's the place of arriving early. It helps you settle down and then plan appropriately. All right? And then in the case of your job or your setting, whatever, it helps your team, your leader, or your client build some form of confidence in you when you are used to arriving early. Because if I have a job, or let's even say a music job, all right, and then I have to employ you to come and sing for me, and then you have the attribute of arriving early, it gives me a confidence that, oh, that girl, no, it's her that will always do it. There's no gainsaying about that. All right? 2, work efficiently. By working efficiently, there's no way we can build professionalism without the real work. The real work as regards learning, the love for learning, practicing, knowledge, increasing knowledge. There's no gainsaying that, we've got to learn, we've got to be at the best when it comes to that. All right? And then there has to be a plan. I'm still talking about punctuality. There has to be a plan. Plan in the sense that we have to know when we are meeting. We have to know when we are starting. We have to know when we are finishing. All right? We have to know, although, some of us that grew up in the Celeste setting, say a Molondari, but then there's need for us to really plan these things because he has a way of affecting our psychic. He has a way of making us work better. All right? Because of time, I won't be able to explain. So my second point is preparation. All right? Preparation. Firstly, under preparation, I have master your part. it will be very annoying. And then that's if you are working with professionals. If there are some parts that you are supposed to have done, okay, let me put it this way. If we rehearse today, all right, and then we are supposed to go home and then meet next week, possibly, it will be time wasting if we come back next week and then we are now going back from where we must have started. Yes, because if we are professionals, we are supposed to have dusted all of the things we have learned in the last week, and then we move from where we stopped, and then you see us growing. But at some point where some people have gone home and then they've forgotten, and then that's the case. But then God will help us. So there's need for us to master our parts, so that by the time we get back to the rehearsal the next time, even at work, our secular jobs, you can't tell your boss, after doing a particular task, you come the next time, you are going back to that task. I'm sure you are waiting to get a sack letter, all right? But since this is God, we've got to give it the best. All right, so still under preparation, grabs the whole. I've grabbed the whole. Now, what I mean by grasping the whole has to do with, if I know I want to, I'm a backup singer, so to say. I'm a backup singer. I had got to learn all of the ethics that has to do with backup singing. I don't need, it's not at the rehearsal. See, the truth is this. So many times, except for lately, I've always worked as a backup saxophone player, all right? And then, because I'm the backup saxophone player, if the lead singer is not on his or her feet, you find the backup saxophone player leading the whole team. And that's what I mean by grasping your part. You, as a backup singer, you don't even wait for you are a lead singer, you have an office. You don't wait for another person to dictate or to give you the dictates of your office. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, please? All right, so let's move on. So, and then report on that preparation. If for one reason or the other, you couldn't do one, two, three of these things, or perhaps you couldn't get the recording, or you couldn't learn the song, it's best you report to your colleagues or your leaders. All right? Because it gives them a sense of, I don't want to use belongingness. It gives them a sense that you are responsible. Thank you, sir. It gives them a sense that you are, even if, okay, I knew I was supposed to do this thing, but because of 1, 2, 3, maybe I traveled, maybe I left my recording at home, maybe I did this, I did that. For 1, 2, 3 of these things, I couldn't do it, and then you report it. So it gives the entire team that, okay, oh, this person is serious. This because of. Don't forget, we are talking about professionalism. All right. So keep yourself and your gear in shape. Keep yourself and your gear in shape. That's the last point under preparation. For keeping yourself and your gear in shape has to do with your mental health. If I know, okay, I'm not good with night rehearsal, as the case may be, I try to sleep. It's as simple as that. And then, just keep it mentally. There are some of us, like me, we have this mood switch. Mood switch, yes. Some of us are not too good with mixing with people and all of that. It's not like we are introverts, but it takes time to get acclimatized with it, But what I'm trying to say is, mentally, you try to keep yourself on point, so that you don't disrupt the session with whatever form of attitude that people will misunderstand. Do you understand? All right. And then with your gear, with reference to your gear has to do with if you're a musician. By musician, I mean an instrumental musician. All right. You got to tune your instruments. You got to whatever. You got to make them, put them on point beforehand. Not when the rehearsal is supposed to be on or the performance is supposed to be on, you are doing all of those things as a way of, killing mood, and for me, it's just a show of disrespect for the entire team. All right, so that's that with preparation. I think I should have about 6 minutes now. All right, courtesy. Firstly, under courtesy, we need to employ business-like manners. All right, business-like manners. Although some of the musical colleagues might be friends, we need to adopt professional speech and work habits. All right, because as we rehearse, as we get along with the performance, we need to be professional. We need to be professional with our language. We need to be professional with our acts. By professional with language, there are some words that are not expected of us as professionals. All right? There are some words that you say to some people and then you just kill their morale. All right? So we need to be cautious about such things. We need to be open. This is my second point now. I'm talking about courtesy. We need to be open and be positive. Open and positive. Now, when sometimes we find ourselves as musicians, we find ourselves working in what I'll call egalitarian groups. By egalitarian, I mean groups that we are all at par. Sometimes we find ourselves in rehearsals where everybody's a leader. Do you understand such? Music is so characterized with such, But then, even at that, we need to display so much of teamwork. Before now, I used to feel that if you don't listen to me, I get angry. I'm not okay with it. If you don't take my idea, I feel like But over time, I discovered that no, you cannot. Let me use myself. I can't always be right, because we all have different backgrounds. We all have different knowledge. We all have. So the way you think is not the way I'll think. So what will make us grow in such settings is when, even if I claim to know, or even if you claim to know, you have to at some point just forget what you know and then listen to the other person. All right. So this way, in such settings, we'll be able to move at an expected pace. That's being open and positive. And then there's need to establish a supportive environment. And then sometimes to the leaders now, there are some people that, no. There's no good that can come out of, is it Bethlehem now? Oh, Nazareth, thank you very much. All right, so there are some people like that, But then, sometimes, maybe by inspiration, or even by mistake, such people, it might just be one word that will just put the entire music on point. I'm even guilty of this. Personally, I'm guilty of this. But there's need for us to give everybody a listening ear. Yes. So under courtesy, there's the last point is the need to reply messages promptly, because sometimes sometimes we are in a position where we need to make collective decision making, all right, and then there's need for us to hear each other's opinions out. And then the very last point, integrity. Integrity simply means being true to one's word. All right? If, for example, I was greeting you good evening, Abi, that's to a large extent, or from a technical point of view, that's lack of integrity. If you say good morning is good morning. If you say, this my cloth is white, is white. Any day, any time. You understand? Let people meet it as white. In fact, interestingly, the utmost of professionalism falls in the place of integrity. Yes. Because if you tell your client that, this thing, now 500 and I buy them, and 600 I won't sell them, there has to, even if the person goes, and then there are some of us that when you go to the market, you price something somewhere, you say, okay, I'll come back. You go somewhere else to price it, and then to get information about the prices. Let your word be your word. Whether music, whether non-music, religious, secular, your word has to be your word. All right? And then in the place of my second point now, there's need for proper or honest finance management. Let there be transparency, especially when it has to do with finance or keeping people's money or being responsible for people's money. There has to be the level of transparency has to be top notch. All right. And then this is very important: helping others to succeed. Yes. And then some of us are even guilty of this too, in the sense that when one is in a group setting, or no, before I come to that, sometimes when you attend an interview for a job interview, most administrators, you can have all the results. You can have a good grade in school. You can have all of these things. But most administrators will not employ you for your grades. No. Because by God's grace, I've been in a position where I have to interview people for jobs too. I learned it that most administrators, most CEOs will not employ you for your grades. Rather, they will employ you for your team spirit. Yes, that's what they will employ you for. In all of your accolades, they will read all of your profile and all of that. And then I later discovered that the place of team spirit turns the non-entity, amongst you to become a superior. Yes, we find that in a good environment, if a non-entity is in a good environment, you see such a person working with utmost ability. All right? So there's need for us to help ourselves to grow. All right? Somebody might be singing a funny part beside you, although it can be annoying, very annoying. But then there's need for you to accommodate it, and then try to correct the person with respect, with courtesy, not trying to bully the person or make a jest of the person, because it's a two-way thing. At that point in time, the person can just decide not to do music again. You understand? That's one. And then on the other hand, you can propel that person, and then you'll be surprised that by the next rehearsal, the person is top-notch. You understand? So there's need for us to accommodate ourselves and then help ourselves to succeed. Then I'm rounding up now. Sincerely, music, especially music performance, is meant to be enjoyed. Because if you are performing music and then you are not enjoying it, I'm very sure your audience will not enjoy it. They won't. Well, it's good that I'm coming at this time, because my predecessors have established the fact that there's need for you to be spirit-filled, for you to be spirit-filled to ditch out good music. Good. But then, yes, in the church, thank you, sir. But then, try as much as possible. This is my parting word. Try as much as possible to put yourself in an environment where you enjoy the music first. Because if you don't enjoy the music, put everything in place. Your sound, your jazz, yourself, by yourself. I mean your technicality, your voice, your instrument, your mental state. Try to put it in order. And then the music you are performing, put yourself in a situation Of course, this can be beforehand. Put yourself in a situation where you enjoy the music first. All right? That's when your audience or your congregation will enjoy the music. Thank you very much.
You feel this content is helpful. Kindly share, comment, like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. God bless you.